Hey guys, Penguin here. Welcome back. This is episode 5 of Road to One Dawn, where I go over the ancient Chinese game of Go or Weiqi. This is episode 5, Tips and Tricks. I just wanted to give a quick disclaimer. I am not responsible if you choose to utilize these overpowered methods to win. I will say these methods are very strong, and they may give you an unfair advantage in your games. So, tips and tricks, what am I going to go over? Number 1, reading ladders. Ladders are a really critical part of the game. A lot of people say you should be reading out ladder moves one by one, but you know what? We live in 2018. We play online Go. You know, a lot of times it's like 10 seconds per move. You don't have time to be reading out one by one. So I'm going to give you my little tip on how to read out ladders quickly. Number 2, quick counting. I have gone over it roughly in my past couple of videos, but I'm just gonna explain it one more time and maybe give you guys some examples of just some random games I pull up on my account, and we'll just quickly count together, you know. And then the third thing, I'll chat. Again, this is 2018, so we all play online Go. Well, most of us play online Go, so you got to be able to use everything that you have at your fingertips to your advantage. So, reading ladders. First part of reading a ladder out, figuring out the direction of the ladder. Second part is being able to take the direction and shifting the ladder down. So you don't have to read the entire ladder from the origin point. You want to be able to quickly shift the ladder in your mind from the origin point down to near where there's actual contact with either your stones or opponent stones. And then third, figuring out whether or not something is ladder breaker. If something has 3 liberties, it doesn't break the ladder. Okay? So that's true for 3 liberties, that's true for 2 liberties, and then that's also true for 1 liberty. Otherwise, everything else will break the ladder. Does that make sense? So, these are the 8 different types of ladders. You can tell, let me, this is one group of ladders. This is another group of ladders. And this is another group of ladders. And this is the last group of ladders. The reason why I grouped them into 4 is basically the direction that the ladders move towards. And you can quickly figure out the direction of the ladder by looking at, well, if you look at every single ladder, we'll pick this one, right? If you look at every single ladder, you'll see 3 stones that go around the center enemy stone, and then you see 1 extra one, right? This extra extending one always creates a diagonal. Always just create a diagonal from the extra stone. That's the direction of the ladder, right? So it's perpendicular. If you look at it, it's perpendicular to the target, the capturing stone, and the captured stone, right? Same with this one over here. It's always perpendicular to the extended stone and the capturing stone, or the stone that's being captured. So you can quickly figure out which way the ladders are going to go. Same down here, right? Let's take a look at the one down here. Which way do these two go? You take the extended one and you just draw a straight diagonal, right? Pretty simple. And the reason why I just bring this up, I mean, I'm sure this is a very simple concept. I just wanted to verbalize it so you just quickly in your head, you know, you look at a ladder, you're like, boom, it goes this way. Because if you look at it, it's kind of like an optical illusion. These two ladders, if you look at this ladder and this ladder, they kind of look like opposite facing ladders, right? But actually, they are the exact same ladder. What do I mean by that? I'm just gonna play out a ladder over here, okay? Gonna make a ladder up here. You know what? Pass. And I'm just gonna make a ladder up here. Okay? And then when you continue playing this ladder, it looks like this, right? So we'll just say this is the original ladder. And I'm going to play two moves. Does this look weird to you? In your mind, you're thinking, well, this is just the original ladder, isn't it? But let me ask you this question. Is there a difference between this ladder and this ladder? Do you see that? It's actually two ladders facing each other. So I'm going to do that again, right? This one will turn into this one, which is actually this one. And then we're going to continue on, and this ladder becomes this, which is actually this. Interesting, right? Maybe it's not super relevant, but I just wanted to kind of bring this up so that you can realize that a ladder is just a shifting between these two shapes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, right? So these two shapes are actually the same, even though they look like they're facing and pointing in totally opposite directions. That cool? All right. So we've already defined the features of a ladder. Now let's talk about shifting. How do we shift a ladder? So this is a free-floating ladder that I'm going to use as an example. So the first step to shifting a ladder is you want to draw a line from, so do like you did originally. You want to draw a line again from the extended stone, and draw a diagonal. Now what you want to do is make sure that you're mentally imagining the ladder from a one liberty position. Okay? Because technically you can also imagine the ladder like this, right? But then that's just really confusing. So if you ever see this type of a shape and then you know that there's going to be a ladder, just pretend in your mind that it looks like this. And then figure out the shape. So first thing first, you draw a diagonal, right? All of this space here, until you reach the point where you may contact the stone, either yours or an enemy stone or even the wall, you're wasting your time trying to imagine the stones clicking around back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth all the way here, right? All you have to do is draw the diagonal from the extended stone, like so. Draw the diagonal down here. And then figure out where you're about to contact another stone. Now you can you don't have to go all the way over here, right? You can start a little bit back, you know? Maybe you want to start from here, or maybe you want to start from here, right? So let's start from here. We'll make blue the black stone. So you imagine that this stone is now shifted down to this location. That's easy, right? What else do you know? Well, this line is always perpendicular to the enemy or the captured stone, right? So you can automatically just imagine these two stones, right? That's really easy. And then the last step is you just have to surround the two stones, or surround the enemy stone, right, in your mind. So you imagine that there's these three there. Now you've actually just shifted the ladder down, right? So trying to visualize a ladder starting from here to here is a lot more simple than trying to imagine a ladder up here and going, okay, here, then here, then here, then here, then here, then here, then here. You know, you don't have to do all of that. You shift it down. You save yourself like this much space, and you start from here. And then once you're here, it's actually just a couple of more moves, right? Now you're just like, okay, one, 2, 3, 4. I'm still not sure, so I'll go 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you can see white has 2 liberties, right? So shifting is basically first figuring out the direction of the ladder, figuring out where contact is going to happen, and trying to move the ladder as close as possible, and then quickly doing a diagonal with the first extended stone. So you shift this stone all the way down here. In fact, you can actually shift it all the way down here if you look at it. But I would shift it a little bit further back just so you have a little bit of room. You don't know if these stones are going to contact for sure, right? So shift it for a little bit back, and it still requires a little bit more reading. But you shift this one stone down, you shift the white stone, and then you capture the white stone in your mind, right? And since you're not doing this step by step, like move by move, it becomes actually very simple because you are just memorizing a single shape, shifting it, and redrawing the shape in your head. You don't have to go, okay, it was this one, then this, and this was the order, the sequence. Too much information. Just figure out a shape, transpose it, and then start reading from there. You turn a 50-point or a 50-move ladder into like a 4-point or 4-move ladder. Okay, let's do some more examples. Does black break the ladder with this stone? How about you pause the video really quickly and try to read it out yourself? Okay, let's draw this out really quick. So you draw a diagonal line, right? And then you shift down till you're about to contact the opposing stone. You do a diagonal, draw in the white stone in your head. Now you imagine the enemy stones, or the enemy stone is surrounded, right? You see it in your head? You can disregard everything else along the sides and just be looking at this and where the new stone is. And I think you can probably read out that you captured the white stone. This black stone breaks the ladder. Okay? Let's try another one. Does this break the ladder? Pause the video and let me know. Okay, let's try it out. You draw your diagonal. You can, I guess, start from here. Put the enemy stone here. Surround it. Now we start reading, right? So green or white plays here. Black plays here. White plays here. Black plays here. White plays here. Black plays here. And the ladder continues as per normal. Try another one. Does this 3-stone group break the ladder? Pause the video and let me know. Okay, let's do a quick count. You draw from here. From here to here. Okay. Now what? Now you right? Now you have your position. Fill in, oops, sorry. Fill in the rest of the ladder. Can you read it out from here? Add one more stone here. And then dead. Alright, so that's reading ladders. Next, quick counting. So what's involved in quickly counting? You want to count by fives, You want to round the number of kills you have to the nearest 5. So this is stones taken off the board already. And then you want to count Komi as 5. Okay? Um, on the board, an empty 3x3 or 9, I consider 10. A partial 3x3, if there's anything, like, if you're counting black territory and there's any black stones inside with the 3x3, I automatically deduct it down to 5 points. It could be a single stone, it could be 8 stones, I roll it all down to 5 points. Okay? The point of quick counting is to be quick. And then if there are kills inside of the 3x3, you double the value of it. Okay? So maybe, like, there's a group that you would have counted as 5 points, but you have kills in there, count them as 10 points. If there's a group that would have been 10 points, and you have kills in there, count it as 20 points. Okay? Be quick, be swaggy. I'm gonna pull up some random games I have on TY Gym, and we can just quickly count these games, right? Let's just pretend there are no kills on the board. Okay? Because I honestly don't know how to show how many kills there are with this Go server. So I'm gonna count White's points first. So let's do this. So we'll make White blue. Okay? So White has Komi's 5. Okay? No kills. And then 10. 15 because there's this thing contesting it. 20. 25. 30. 35. 40. 50. 50 points. Okay. You're like, well, there's a lot of contested areas here. Like, what about this area? Or, what if black takes this stone? Honestly, who cares? You can even count this if you want to, right? Just the whole point is to do it as quickly as possible. So really quick, what's White's points? We said 5, 10, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. So we're going to say White has 55 points. Okay. Oops. Now we're going to do green for black. So I'm going to say 5 points, 10 points. Well, actually, sorry, it should be like that. 10 points. And another 10 points because I captured that one stone. That. This isn't really captured or anything like that, so I'm just going to start counting from here, then here. This up here doesn't really look like it's any sort of points or something like that, so I'd say right now black has... Where's my cursor? Black's got 5, 10, plus the kill, so 20, 30, 40, 45, 55. Say 55 points. So I'd say in this case, score is about equal. You can challenge me, you can say, well, White has Moyo and all stuff, and I'd say the whole point of counting is to figure out whether or not you have a lead and if you need to start invading or reducing or fighting, right? If something's not really confirmed points yet, I honestly don't really generally count it. But once again, it doesn't matter if you count it or not. As long as when you count it, If you choose to count moyos and stuff like that, then you better be counting it for both sides the same way, right? My strategy is to count as fast as humanly possible so I can get a quick idea to figure out what to do next. Because generally, when I'm playing online, I have like 5 seconds to make them or maybe not 5 seconds. I have 30 seconds, right? I'm not going to spend 25 of those seconds counting. I'm going to spend 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds counting at most, right? And then I'm going to spend the rest of the 20 seconds trying to figure out what to play. So that's the whole strategy behind my swaggy sort of counting method, is that I just want a really rough sense to know whether or not I need to make a play or not. Let's pick a different game. Doesn't really matter. Let's count from here. How many points does white have? And how many points does black have? I'm going to pause the video really quick, and you guys can do a quick count by yourselves, and then let me know what you think. Now, I'm not saying either you're right or wrong. I just want you guys to get into the force a habit of counting, right? If you're off, you're off. Who cares, really? Like my counting method is like so abstract, you couldn't probably use it for endgame. But in this case, just get some practice counting. So, all right, pause the video. Okay, and let's start counting. I'm going to do, once again, white as blue. So I'd say it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, plus Comey, 30. So I'm going to say white 30. I don't know how many kills there are on the board, unfortunately, so I can't really yeah, I can't really say that there are any kills. I wish I could. Sorry, guys. Let's do green. Let's do green for black. So I've got 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, 45, maybe 50 max. And that's pretty much my count. Let's do one more really quickly, just so we have some good practice. I don't know. Whatever. Wow. Okay. Maybe we can do this game. Yeah, maybe we can do this one. Because I think moyos are kind of a little bit up to interpretation, right? Like, if you think that they should be counted as points, go ahead and count them as points. And if you think they shouldn't be counted as points, don't count them as points. So I'm gonna start counting white. He's got 5 points. I'll give him that. 10, 15. This one is interesting. I don't like giving 4-4 any points, because if black invades, it's more like just a floating stone because it's not worth any points. So I don't really give those things points. But again, up to you. You can if you want. But whatever. I won't. So I'm saying Comey 5. So white has 5 Comey. And then, oops. You know what? Let's. Comey is 5. So I'm gonna say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 points. I'm gonna say white 30. That fair? Let's do black. I'm gonna give black 5 points for this. 10, 20, 30, 40. I'm giving 50 points for because there's a kill in there. Alright, I'm just gonna draw the boxes out first and then worry about it later. So, black, we're gonna give him, well, I'm gonna give him 5 points, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 55, 60, 70 points. I'm gonna say black has 70 points. Oops. Meaning white has to invade and do something about this. Now you can say that these points over here, okay, where is that? You can say that these over here could be considered black points, but I don't think so, because it doesn't look like it's very easily defended to me. So I'm just gonna count it as no points, but if you want to count these as points as well, you can count and give black 80, right? Regardless, white has to do some sort of invasion here because this is like an insurmountable lead, right? You know that. So white is probably gonna make some sort of invasion play to start reducing this stuff. And he does. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Oh yeah. I forgot to mention, don't count easily contested areas like Moyo's. Earlier, I counted that area because it was almost uncontestable, so it looked very solid and hard, right? Again, it's up to your judgment. If you feel like something is not defendable, I would not count it as points. So it's up to your interpretation on this one, right? And the key is speed. You only have 30 seconds per move normally on an online game, right? If you can spend 10 of those seconds figuring out the lay of the land and where you're at, you can make much better decisions. All right? Number 3, all chat. Go is a mental and emotional game, right? Like you're one-on-one against the opponent. All the information is on the board. Or is it? If you can get inside of their head and start messing with that, it gives you a very clear advantage in the game. Number 2, it's all about timing, right? You can't just start spamming all chat and expect to be able to gain an advantage simply just like that. What you want to do is figure out the right timing to minimize the effort and the attention that you need to be typing in all chat to maximize the distraction that you're afflicting on your opponent. Okay? Number 3, I'm going to cover offensive and defensive strats for all chatting. These kind of come from my extensive background in other gaming like Dota or Overwatch, first-person shooters. Like this type of stuff I feel like applies very well to the online Go community. So here we go. The offensive GG, or good game. Let me give you a little bit of history on the phrase GG, or good game. When StarCraft was a professional sport, to show respect to your opponent early on, people would say good game, or let's have a good game, or well played in chat. Well, you don't want to type in the whole phrase good game every single time you play the game, so it eventually got shortened to GG. During the professional scene, you needed a way to, I suppose, elegantly resign the game. So the term GG was used by professional players to officially resign a match. Well, we're going to be utilizing this GG good game phrase offensively. Okay, let me give you an example. This is a game I played as a 9Q against this other 9Q player. And did you see that? Offensive GG. I used this offensive GG technique in the game in order to mentally cripple the opponent, right? Now notice the timing. I played this offensive GG right as I secured the victory. It requires a little bit of reading here. You need to make sure that when you type GG or play the offensive GG card in all chat, you have no way of losing, okay? Because your opponent is most likely gonna go berserk and start playing moves all over the place. Alright? But you're gonna be utilizing this to your advantage. The hardest part about Go is closing out the game. One mistake, even if you're in a winning position, is all it takes to suddenly turn the game around. So what you're trying to do here is disrupt your opponent's mentality, mess up their emotions, and close the game out that way. Okay? Thug life. So a lot of Go servers have a lot of restrictions on the type of language that you're allowed to use in all chat. For example, the KGS server where I started learning how to play, you're not allowed to use any sort of profanity. Well, one thing you can do is pretend to be a thug on all chat. So perhaps you're not using profanity, perhaps you're not even being necessarily rude, but if you use more aggressive speech, you may be able to intimidate or scare your opponent into playing weaker moves or even letting you win. Spam. This is actually a very critical technique to utilize in your game because everyone on this server uses it. Okay? Let me draw your attention to the bottom of the screen. You're going to see a lot of buttons here that you can actually utilize to disrupt your opponent's train of thought. First of all, let's look at the undo button. The undo button is actually not a very good strategy to use. I believe most Go servers don't stop or delay the clock when you press the undo button. Okay? So it actually doesn't gain you much to start spamming your opponent's screen with undo. Now you can try the pass button. But again, the pass button is actually very expensive because passing actually costs you an actual move. Okay? I would say the most effective tool, built-in tool actually, is the count. The counting button. This button pauses the time, pops a window up in front of your opponent's screen, and forces them to think about whether or not they want to start counting the game or not. Perhaps the board isn't clean yet. Perhaps the board looks like this, right? But the second or two that your opponent has to stop and decide, wait, my area technically isn't territory yet, is actually a couple of seconds more for you to think about how to get out of your current predicament. Okay? This is a very powerful tool, a very powerful technique. I would use it at your own discretion because it might give you a slightly unfair advantage in your matches. Okay? All chat. Defensive strats. Channeling your sandbag. So if you look over here in the TYGEM server, there's actually another button. A greeting button. When you click on the greeting button, there's a bunch of different options for you to actually be able to put into all chat. And I believe these auto options translates into the user's original language. So, you may type in good game in English, but if they only speak Chinese, they may not understand you. So you can try something like, let's see. You can try something like, I will learn from this game, to represent that you're a weaker player than they are, even if you are sandbagging. This may give you a slight advantage by making the opponent maybe slightly arrogant, maybe a little bit more sloppy. This is all about trying to gain a slight advantage in a very difficult and tight mental game. The early count spam. I mentioned this technique earlier in the offense section, but it can actually be easily used in the defensive section as well. Maybe you're attacking your opponent and you need them to tilt off the face of the planet so you can kill their group more easily. Or maybe they are attacking you or trying to kill you and you need them to mess up, right? You can use the early count spam either way. Just make sure that when you use it, it's effective, because over time, they will start to be able to learn how to ignore this spam, so it's not effective all the time. Remember, timing. Use it only when you need it. Okay? And then last and not least, if you see no hope in winning the game, find an excuse to resign. This is a last resort to preserve face. You know, it's an online game, so people really have no way of validating what your real life issues are. You can say, I have a phone call, an emergency phone call, or my cat's on fire. You know what? Finding a legitimate excuse to resign is critical in preserving your face on the Go server. All right? Well, thanks guys for joining my episode 5 tips and tricks video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and oh yeah, and if you have anything you guys want me to cover in the next video, I'll be sure to do that. If not, I'm most likely gonna just review maybe a 17Q game. I think I'm done with all of my 18Q games. Anyway, thank you so much for joining, and have a great day. Penguin out.